Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling. Shall we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today? We'll be relaxing. Well, I mean, it's quite late for relaxing, but I mean, relaxing nonetheless. And talking about, I don't know what we can talk about, to be perfectly honest. Oh, you know what's absolutely crazy? I forgot. I was going to send this to my friend because I actually don't know if this is legitimate or not. But Hatsune Miku is apparently coming to Crypt of a Necrodancer, which is crazy because I didn't know this game was still getting updates, to be perfectly honest. But you know what? I'm going to do this right now. I mean, there's a little tidbit. Ooh, you didn't hear that music whatsoever. I was going to... Hold on. This is highly important. Actually, is this highly important? I was going to put it in a meme channel, but I was like... Anyway, good evening, everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 11:13 PM on Thursday, April 4th, 2024. Okay, and then... You do this. Very important, but of course they sent that in the middle of an Animal Crossing episode. Like, it's honestly crazy. Hatsune Miku and Crypt of a Necrodancer. Like, I'm not going to say it doesn't necessarily make any sense whatsoever. It seems certainly reasonable, and I have actually more messages from a friend that I should probably respond to. I didn't quite realise, but that's okay. I'll do that one after this episode. You might be like, hey, isn't this like a weird sense of priority? Yeah, probably. Anyway, what are we going to talk about today? Did I talk about a D&D session yesterday? I think I recorded before. Why is everyone having a fight with you, Audie? What's going on? All the normal villagers you're having mad beef with. No, the D&D episode was really... quite an interesting one, certainly. I guess the best way I can put it was I did my best to prepare for almost, not all situations, but as many situations that I could conceivably think might happen, and apart from whatever actually did happen. Not to say that the people who are playing did a completely unreasonable action or anything, but I kind of misunderstood what their priorities are, if anything. Although to be fair to me, I have said before that, like, please do be transparent about the things that you do intend to do. You know, otherwise I cannot prepare for it, which is fine. You know, I'm totally okay with just improvising on things off the spot if need be. But things are kind of feel more cohesive when they're actually sort of planned out at least a little bit. And at the end of last session, they said they were going to do something. They said they were going to arrive at this place, have maybe a quick look around, and then have a sleep, and then do whatever. But then they didn't. Basically, they decided to investigate basically first before sleeping. And I was like, okay. I don't want to like give away the game or anything because they've not discovered like the mysteries of what's going on. But certainly, it was not something I particularly accounted for, and it was something which is difficult to go against, unfortunately. But it was very funny nonetheless. There was a lot of very amusing moments in it, including one of the most unfortunate jokes, I suppose, in the entire thing. But I'm not going to put my friend on blast here, because that's not really fair, because that's, you know, a fun private moment. Instead, we're going to talk about something else. I don't really know what we can talk about, though, to be perfectly honest. I didn't really think about the fact that I'm going to be streaming again on Saturday. Not that that's like a bad thing or something, but I was like, that does not put like a wrench in the plans, but I need to consider exactly when I need to record stuff, because I need to record an episode of Okami, and usually I do that on the day of Saturday, but I probably need to record a couple episodes today then instead. I really should, just to like build up a backlog. But anywho, what are we going to talk about today? That's a real good question. I genuinely don't know. Anything going on in the gamersphere? League of Legends, you got new stuff going on? You got new skins or something? I don't know, but it's a bit of a lull right now in Genshin and Honkai. You know, like the Genshin patches were like halfway through the patch right now, but again, none of these characters I want to pull, and I don't actually want to pull for any character for quite a bit, to be perfectly honest. None of the upcoming characters are like that much of a draw for me, so I'm sort of just like, whatever happens. Honkai Star Rail, on the other hand, is a whole different story where I'm just like, oh, look at all these characters coming out, which I'm very interested in. My other games, people are suspecting that Starlight Stage, Idolmaster Cinderella Girl Starlight Stage, a game I've been playing since, oh my god, how long has it been now? Like 7 years or something. Like, I started playing in sixth form, I think. No, GCSE maybe. So it would have put me around 16ish or so. Oh my god, it's almost been a decade of me playing it. Has it almost been a decade of it being out? Anyway, people are suspecting that it's actually coming to an end of service pretty soon, because they're doing a very crazy thing of normally they have reruns of limited banners a year after they come out. So like, for example, on the Christmas time limited cards, they'll rerun next year, also Christmas, just before the actual new Christmas banner cards come out again. But for some unfathomable reason, not only have they reduced the amount of cards which are being released, limited cards at the start of each month, they've also they've rerun the Halloween cards for some reason now, which, you know, people are very much suspecting, being like, I don't think this game is going to make it to Halloween, to be honest, because Halloween is basically like the month after the anniversary of this game, so everyone's basically being like, they're rerunning this card because it's not going to ever come out again, probably. So presumably next, if we could do the maths, I suppose, April, so it's a +6 sort of thing. So by the time we get to the anniversary, every card, all banners will have a rerun. No, it doesn't make sense. I don't know, but I'm fairly prepared for it. Like, the writing was on the wall that this game was definitely going to be retired sooner rather than later. I mean, it's been out for 10 years or something, and it looks like the franchise in general is sort of focusing on that other new branch of games which are coming out instead, which is, you know, it's hard to say. It's certainly like going to be an end of an era, as many things tend to be. And I guess it's also weird to think about the fact that I am now sort of getting old enough to the stage where things I have spent a significant portion of my life with are going, or like disappearing, or ending, things like that. Like, I can't imagine what it's going to feel like when League of Legends not finally, like, I don't mean it like I'm praying for its downfall or anything, but when League of Legends ends its service, where it's just like, okay, the servers are not being supported anymore, maybe because of League of Legends 2, maybe because of different projects, maybe it just like falls through because of crazy business decisions. I don't really know, but it's going to be weird when that day comes, because League of Legends has been part of my life for almost, I mean, I started playing 2010, I think, so it's like been 14 years it's been a part of my life. That's insane. That's almost half my life. No, that's over half my life, basically, that I've been playing this game for. And for it to like finally end service would just be like, I don't know. My general viewpoint, I suppose, on finality and end of things is that all good things must eventually come. Well, all things in general must come to an end. Nothing can go on in perpetuity. Nothing can go on forever. That's just kind of the way life works. Even if you wanted things to, even if you found a way to sustain it for your life and continue onwards and onwards, just by the fact that entropy even exists, I suppose, and you can't reverse it, means eventually everything will be nothing. Which, I don't know. I often say that I have my viewpoint on life tends to be positive nihilism, where it's like really nothing matters, but that means that you can define your own purposes and definitions and goals throughout life. But it's still like weird, I suppose, to think about. Not like in a sense that like it brings me great pain. I mean, I guess it does give me a little bit of sadness, but not like to a sadness of like mourning, I suppose. More like a sadness of just like something coming to an end. It just still feels weird, if anything. Like, I don't know. Does it hurt? I can't say, because maybe it will hurt, maybe it won't hurt. I suppose when it actually happens, it's not really for me to decide. It's just kind of like in the moment, my reaction to it will just be like, oh, that's what it is, you know. It's just kind of, I don't know, strange is what I'd say. I suppose with Starlight Stage and Cinderella Girls in particular, it was something which, you know, I've known for some time coming. Like when they made an announcement like half a year ago, basically being like, we were slowly scaling back the amount of stuff which is being released, and everyone was like, oh, end of service. And then like when new franchise was announced, and I was like, oh, and most people are like, oh, the writing's kind of on the wall for this, which is a shame, because it's still actually earning like a decent amount of money, but I don't know, maybe it's no longer sustainable. Maybe they feel like their money is better worth invested in other things. Like they tried to, I think, basically make a successor to Starlight Stage. Like there's another franchise which is not a rhythm game called Shiny Colors, which they tried to make a rhythm game out of, but I don't think it's found that much success. Like I played it a little bit, but I'm like, it's like it doesn't feel like it brings something new with like this whole like deck building aspect of a game, which is interesting, but it doesn't bring something new enough where I'm just like, oh, I can't either get it from, you know, regular Shiny Colors or like Project Sakai, which is kind of like my go-to rhythm game I play right now. Satellite Stage I still play, of course, but by this point most things I kind of just play on auto, and then like I'll play the event song or something here and there. But I don't know, it's just, even though I knew it was coming for a while, and though it hasn't actually happened yet, it kind of feels like it's happened in a certain sense. It's also like, it's not like my mind's prepared for the situation, but my mind has been thinking about it in that sense. Which I think in a vacuum sounds very strange to talk about, to say like, oh, my mind's been thinking about the fact that this game I was playing is no longer going to exist, because really I suppose it's inconsequential, but then I suppose you counter with everything's inconsequential, so I mean that's kind of like a moot point from my own perspective. No, what I mean by that is just like, I guess it's not that weird, because it, as I say, it's been with me for like a particularly long time. It's sort of just like, when something's been with you for such a long time, I guess you just kind of accept it as the norm. Like, it's, your life is defined more by it being there than it not, you know? This can apply, of course, to a whole spectrum of different things. I don't mean this to be just like a narrow scope focus. I'm just literally talking about this video game. It's just, I don't know, I guess it's kind of like the way I'm talking about it. Yeah, I mean, if your life has been defined mostly by its existence rather than its non-existence, suddenly it not existing anymore and it never existing again is kind of like weird, I suppose, in a sense. Like, I don't know. It's hard to describe, I suppose. Like, I don't mean to make this comparable to like loss, I suppose, because it's not, I don't think, comparable to loss. Loss is a whole different thing in general, but it's, I mean, I guess it's got some sense of parallels there, does it not? It's just weird to think about, because now it's like sort of like part of my routine, you know, like I wake up and, you know, I'm like, oh, like what am I going to do to get like the brain working, you know? Sometimes I'd like check out games, sometimes I'll look at some social media, etc., but like it's a constant thing. I'll be like, okay, I'll spend like a few minutes like checking out what's going on in the game today, or playing this game, etc. Number one, that's exactly what I want to say to you, Amelia. So yeah, the fact that it's been now just like sort of taken from it is, I don't mean it's like a grand loss or something. Like, I certainly very much enjoyed the time I spent playing it, and I don't regret spending time playing it. It's just more like weird, I suppose. I guess it's like a big enough change up, a big enough shake up, where it's just like, it feels notably different. I'm not sure. I guess it would probably feel more notably different if it was like a sudden thing, like, oh, like if the game was doing like super well, there's no signs, and there's like boom, end of service, or like it wasn't a game which I slowly got bored of at some point and stopped playing for a little bit, and then I'd come back and visit every now and then. It would be like, oh yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense, but I don't know. I guess the end of things is, as strange as it is, well, curious, I suppose. Maybe curious is not really the right word. I don't really know how to place it. It just, I guess I'm being a bit premature with it, if anything, because it's just like, maybe I shouldn't be assuming that necessarily it's going to shut down just because of the fact it's rerunning things at a Stranger Time. Maybe it's still, I mean, obviously it's going to shut down at some point, but maybe it's still got like another year or two left in it, which would be, you know, fair. Not really something for me to decide, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I don't know. A finality to things is strange. Because I guess the thing that's strange about it, despite the fact that, again, it's not a game I play like all the time or like super invested in anymore, it's just like a game I play sort of very lightly. It's not even the fact that like you don't get to play the game anymore, it's the fact that you don't get the choice to play the game anymore, because I mean, it's a gacha game. A lot of the thing is defined by the music, it's defined by the card arts and that sort of thing, and like maybe the music videos, etc., and all of those are still preserved. People are presumably, like one of the writings on the wall for this sort of game, people are looking to preserve the game in any way they can. I suppose one fantastic thing about this digital age is there's definitely a push for this concept of archiving for future generations, for keeping down these sort of like things which are big parts of history, which if you don't archive just sort of become footnotes, which is the same. These sort of things shouldn't be lost to time. They are definitive, I suppose, or reflective in some form or another of the moments, the time and the experiences collectively we shared in these periods. So it's not like, you know, it's like, oh, I want to like remember what that really cool card art looked like at one point. I just like, oh, it's not like lost to time. I can never see it again. I could just like literally Google it and it'll probably come up. And the same thing would be like, oh, that song was really good. What was it? Like, let me like imagine how it goes. No, I can just literally look up the song, and you know, I probably could even download the song on like on my phone or something and listen to it like whenever I wanted, or like stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. Isn't it different? Even if it's a game which I'm not going to play anymore or anything like that. Like I guess I was thinking quite similarly to like School Idol Festival when it happened. Even if it's a game I had basically no intentions of playing anymore, it's still strange when it's just like, oh, now there's like not even an option to play it anymore. Again, as I say, had no plans to play School Idol Festival, but the fact it shut down, it's just like, oh, it feels like not like a bit of me that went with it. It's just sort of like wow, that was like it brings back those memories, and it's just like, I guess the concept of those memories are not going to come back. But if anything, I don't mean that in a negative sense, because it's like there's so many more memories which can be made, which you can take the time to create. You'll get more of these memories, of these moments, of things just to hold on to in the same way. Try it on. I have no idea what you're trying on. Honestly, suits you incredibly well, I think. Retro A-line shirt or dress. I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, I guess it's like the lack of option, really. Which is kind of like what Finality brings about, in a sense. Sorry, this is like a very strangely pessimistic Animal Crossing video. I definitely didn't mean it in that sense. It's just sort of like... Once you go down on a conversation topic, you just sort of ride it out and see where it goes. I don't really know. I guess the hardest way, like, no, it's me being a bit dramatic, I suppose, about the entire thing, but you don't really know how you're going to react to a situation like something like this, you know, until it really like happens. And again, that sounds way more melodramatic than I mean. Just more like, I mean the idea of like, oh, you know, it's something which has literally like not been on my mind for ages, and then suddenly now it is, because it's going, or it's gone. It's sort of just, as I say, it feels like the end of an era. Despite the fact it's not really like well, I mean, what sort of era is it the end of? Like, it's not even like that big a portion of like, I wouldn't even consider it like an era in my own story, my own life or anything like that. It just is a thing which happened, and it's not going to be there anymore. And it's, yeah, I don't know. Finality of things, ends of service. Anyway, either way, the game's still going on for now, as far as I know, but the writing's very much on the wall, and I would not be surprised if by the anniversary time the game will the game will be over. Which, I don't know, by that time I suppose the new franchise will come in, and maybe if that is like a pure upgrade of everything, maybe I'll just be like, whoa, this is amazing. I guess Cinderella Girls, I think, was always a relic of the time it came from, with its ridiculously huge ensemble cast. It was more like a interesting concept or something, which is not really the direction which a lot of these games sort of go in anymore. Now, if you have an ensemble cast, people want like more developed characters. People want their characters to have their time of the limelight, which Cinderella Girls basically never gets to have as much of, because they're sharing a spotlight with 100 different characters. That's ridiculous. But it's interesting to think about nonetheless, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to round this episode off here, so if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope you see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.